Okay, hi sisters and brothers. I have a lousy voice right now. We're just gonna look at a topic here very quickly. Um, it's to deal with um, this wonder, and also connected, of course, to that verse in Second Ezra, which is part of the Apocrypha that we have looked at before, and that's found in Second Ezra 13. But the verse we're actually going to take a look at is Habakkuk. And this is what it says in Habakkuk. um, See, insolent one, and gaze and be astonished and marvel, because I do work in your days, and you will not believe, though a woman will tell you of it. Says a man. We're going to sub in a woman because it is the women we've identified that will be the great wonders in this day, that no one will hear, no one will listen to. And it is a great wonder because it's the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, placed upon these women that'll come like a thief in the night. That's why this links to that verse, a thief in the night, right? She will come like a thief in the night because night represents the fact that you're in idol worship. That's what it represents. She comes to tell you that it's the law of heaven that saves you, not an idol of a man or of a woman. You are not to bow to the daughters of Zion and worship them. You are, however, to reverence the mother, and you are to reverence her law, because once you cease to reverence the mother, we end up with this. That's what we end up with. And this idol worship of man as God and father and dad. And it's the pride in the heart that refuses to see the truth, which is why then you get the verse in, I got it up here. I should have it up here. In not Habakkuk. In where is it? Well, I did have it up. Let me see here. I do. Was one of the last things I pulled up? Okay, so it's in Second Ezra. Well, now where did it go? All right, fine. There it is. So Second Ezra. What does it say? So I asked. I said, verse that states, because I can never remember the exact verse. I just know it's in Second Ezra 13, where it says they will look in at the living. The dead from the other side will look in at the living and mourn because they could not attain to it. Attain to what? Attain to the simple truth that reasons. They're going to feel great shame that they believed in this idol of Father as God and Son as God and can't reason the simple facts of truth out. So I asked that question, and it come back and said, it looks like you're referring to a verse from the book of Second Ezra after I told them it was in Second Ezra. Then they can pinpoint it. Also known as Second Ezra, which is part of the Apocrypha. Yes, we know this. The specific verse you're mentioning seems to be from 2 Ezra 13:54 to verse 56. Here's a brief summary. In this passage, it is described that those who are on the other side, the dead, will look upon the living and mourn because they could not attain the blessings and salvation that the living have received. And it's very few that attains to this. This reflects a theme of regret and longing for what was missed in life. You know what's missed in life? That they're like, we couldn't attain to that. The truth. And so Habakkuk is pointing us to these wonders, or wonder, where the branch will come from, that you will get, and it'll say these men are to be wondered at. No, it's the women that are the branch, identified as a branch, and also the sovereign. They're the crown and the scepter that rules the kingdom, also identified as women. So the King James says, behold ye among the heathen, the nations, and regard and wonder marvelously. For I will work a work in your days, which you will not believe, though it be told you. So that's the spirit that comes like a thief in the night. You're being told the truth, But you're in so utter darkness of idol worship, of what the men have pumped in your brain, that you cannot come away from that lie to the truth, which leads us to those that are mourning on the other side, going, we could have attained it if we'd have just listened. But they won't listen. So that is why you come upon that verse like a thief in the night. And we also get from Jeremiah 23, she says, and fine, every man's burden will become his burden. If you want to prophesy the burden of the Lord, the deliverance of children through women are a burden to her, and she can't do it. But he can. He can carry children and deliver them. If you want to prophesy that lie, then I promise you that burden's going to fall upon you, and your word will become your burden. So that word is allegorical to your sword. It is, which then by reasoning, we have to reason things out. We can't expect somebody else to do it for us. We have to be constantly looking through wisdom and what actually reasons out in our own minds, in our spirits, when we are listening. So Ezekiel 38, that verse in Jeremiah 23, just automatically, through reasoning, through the spirit of wisdom, led me to Ezekiel 38:21, because there's nothing else that reasons. And what does it say? And I will call for a sword against him throughout all my mountains, saith the Lord God, and every man's sword shall be against his brother. What sword here? Word. What do we got? On the hills of Israel, as this seems to be taking place on, which is those hills on Israel are volcanic mountains from what they say. They're volcanoes, really, sleeping volcanoes. But we've got multiple religions, and their words are turning on one another. And she told him, if you make an idol, any idol, male or female, and you bow down and you worship as opposed to following the law of heaven off of my daughter's tongue that I give to man in covenant to uphold those laws, then every man's sword, word, religion, you will turn on each other, and you will do me a great favor, and you will wipe one another out. That's what you will do. Now, those on the other side can't attain to this truth. Why? Because they had hardened their hearts with a religious lie taught to them by man through great violence. It was instituted. And they could not attain to that truth because they had hardened their hearts, their necks, their minds, their ears they didn't want to hear, and their eyes don't want to see, though they clearly can see it. But yet, here we got, in this passage, it is described that those who are on the other side, the dead, will look upon the living and mourn because they could not attain the blessings and salvation that the living have received. So the living is those of us who's actually going to attain to this truth, and there's going to be very few of us. And God says, when I appear, it'll be to this group's great glory, and to the others who refuse this simple truth that reasons through wisdom, your mother, and they will have great shame upon their heads. It'll be great shame to them. Because the truth reasons so simply. So the spirit that comes like a thief in the night is the same one doing the great wonders that nobody wants to hear. Right? Look at the nations and watch and be utterly amazed. For I am going to do something in your days that you would not believe, even if you were told it, and you're being told it. They don't believe it. That's the spirit that comes like a thief in the night for the few that will attain to the truth. Now, that's how you understand it. And that took us to the verse that we find. It's not here in the cross references. They never want to give the ones that make sense in the cross references because they don't want you to easily put it together. But it is found in Zechariah 4. I ain't going there. Excuse me. I'm actually feeling a little bit better today. Thank you for all your prayers. The capstone, you find in Zechariah 4 that they cry, grace, grace unto it. That's her. She's the headstone. She was always considered the headstone. That's why a stone is placed on Rachel's grave, a pillar. That is why Jacob sleeps on a pillar. It symbolizes the feminine. Okay, I can't find it. Where is it? Okay, so it's in Zechariah 3 then. Yeah, I always get these two mixed up. What does it say of these great wonders? They are not males, they are females. They are the scepter, they are the crown. Now they got Joshua. I'm not so sure this is not the feminine in view. Again, I do have contentions with this for obvious reasons. For those who have watched and are able to reason it out for yourself. It says here now, O Joshua the high priest. Well, she's the high priestess. Thou and thy fellows, thy virgins, that sit before thee. For they are women, not men. These are your great female wonders. Wondered at. For behold, I will bring forth my servant, the branch, Israel, the daughters, the woman's seed. It is not men. These are not males. These are female, and it's her. Their head, they're surrounding their own head that was burned to an ash heap, that is reborn out of the dust of the earth. Well, you find that ash heap, Ariel, as an Ariel, an altar earth. It takes us actually to the verse in Isaiah 29, verse 4, I believe. Ariel will become an Ariel, an altar earth. The mighty lioness of God will become an altar earth. You find her burned to an ash heap in Psalm 68. And yet these women who will proclaim the truth, this great wonder, this stone smashing the toes on that image, which is technically the Roman Empire. Now, it's interesting. I don't know if I should mention it. I was actually watching Xena, and they actually, in a roundabout way, explains the entire Bible. It's quite fascinating, and with a few twists that I would question, of course, in it. But it shows you that they crucified the women, the powerful women. It's funny how it follows the entire narrative. Now, I watched Xena years and years ago, and it just come into my mind, and I remembered a particular episode where they had her being crucified, and I said, well, I'm going to go in and just watch some of Xena if I can pull it up. And I did, and I was absolutely fascinated at what they revealed. And I did have a question by one of the ladies, about did Eve really take from the tree of life? No, she did not. She was accused. We reason it out. Is woman a rib on a man? No, she is not. That was the accusations. These stories were designed to debase the woman and to accuse her. And so we reason it out that he, like a dragon, keen-eyed, sharp, wise. He became wise. Well, how did Adam become wise enough to accuse the woman if he didn't take from a knowledge that he was not supposed to take from? And he used great violence to suppress her and to accuse her. And in Job, she says, oh, that my accuser, and you find that word for the accuser there, is man, had written his accusations in a book. I would wear it like a crown upon my head, and I would use it to exonerate myself in the end, because she finds the little book of truth sealed up in the end. How the beginning is all a lie and accusation against the woman. She is her own full body and her own full unit and her own full house. But the Reb allegory shows how woman became part of his house and debased under it. When he accused her falsely in the garden, we lead Satan's name right back to fallen Adam, the accuser. That's what it leads us back to. Satan, the accuser that falls from the heaven, is actually the first Adam that accused the first woman. Wrongfully, he lied about it. And she proves that in the book of truth that is sealed up as the little book with her deed back in her hand. She, as the sovereign, sits and rules over the kingdom, not to be worshipped, but to ensure that the law of God is upheld. And that's the laws of mother wisdom. And so the beginning really shows the accusation against the woman by the first Adam in his pride and in his arrogance, and why these men cannot attain into the truth. And these women, who's also built up on their foolish pride, I call it the harlot's romance. It's the only term that really applies to these women who are so hard bent on building this male idol up and letting him take her rights and defile her. I just will never understand them. And yet we get the verse here that they cannot attain to the truth. They miss it. They miss it. And they are in great mourning because the truth reasons. It absolutely does. Beelzebub is a name for your husband, the accuser. It's also a name for the devil, for Satan. And you can reason that out. So the beginning is of the Bible, is of man writing in there to defile the woman and to accuse her. And everything that we reason out takes us back to that understanding. We are not his rib hanging off of his body. We were never meant to be part of his house. We were not. Because in the day that you come into his house, you become his harlot. And that's what you've got ruling in the land right now. So it's utterly fascinating that you do verify this truth. She does come like a thief in the night. The reason why the Spirit comes like a thief in the night is because the night is identifying a time of idol worship when they will not hear. They will not hear. They will not see. And it's really that simple. And yet they are in great mourning because they could not attain to this truth. And on the other side, they can see how simple it is. On this side, when you've been beaten with a religious lie your entire life, it's not so easy to see it. So that is why they're also referred to as her strong ones and her preserved ones. And so there you go. There's a simple little video. Don't know when I'll post it. I don't know if I will with this lousy throat. Thanks to all the women who watch us. Sorry, I have not yet responded. I don't know that I will. I have a lot of other things to do, trying to heal from this cold. And I thank you so much for watching. I pray for all my precious sisters out there that you don't let them lead you astray into this religious lie. Don't be like the swine that returns to the vomit. Because that's what that religious lie of man is God, and all these men and women who wants to preach Jesus is coming to get you. That's the lie that so few comes away from, and so few attain to the truth. But we are some of those precious few that do attain to it, and it's reasoning. And I praise God, the Spirit, for actually showing that to us. So thanks again for being here. I appreciate my precious sisters and brothers here with us on this climb. Can't do it without you. Just know that you are precious in God's eyes. And so I hope you all have a lovely day. I hope you're blessed with an abundance of truth. And thank you so much for being here.